what's so cool about God? He can take your failures your totally jerk stupid things and make them monuments, foundations, platforms, because he calls those things are not as though they are. I love him. He's the best. When I first came here, I had scab. I had powdery mildew. I had all these major issues with my trees because my soil was really malnutrition. And I used to spray them. And so I had to have a hose to spray. But why I'm doing this is that today I have no scab. And I'm doing no spraying. And I've come to the reality when the soil becomes nutrient dense, all disease leaves. Disease and sickness in any living being, whether it's a plant, animal, insect, or you, is a result of malnutrition, period. It's a result of malnutrition, period. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
If you have good nutrition, you can't get sick. It's impossible. I don't even have any recollection of what a headache feels like. It's been so long since I've been sick, I don't even have a reference of what it feels like to have a cold and sick. Because eat live food and eat live food in season, can't get sick. It can't happen. It's awesome. I love the Creator. He really made it easy for us. And good. You just don't pay attention. You go to the store and buy dead food. You know, when you think about it, really, again, we're intelligent beings. If you eat dead food, you can't get life from dead food. Really, you can't get life from dead food. And if you read the label, and you look at the expiration date, and you're thinking like, what? This is good until this many months, years ahead of me, and I'm eating it. They think I'm going to get something out of it? You got to be kidding. But that's how we live. So just to take home with you, the longer the shelf life of your food, the shorter your life will be. I'm being real. The longer the shelf life of food you eat, the shorter your life will be. So you want to eat things quickly. There's a guy coming here every night to get food out of my garden. He's in Vietnam. He used to take big box and take a lot. He discovered the second day my food was no good. Second day, it was no good. Because live food has no shelf life. Live food has no shelf life. And what I got when he told me that was the example I saw in Scripture. Remember the Israelites were coming to, on their way to the Promised Land. They had no place to grow food. They're moving. And so the Creator gave them manna. Remember how long the manna lasted? 1 day. The second day was rotten. And I get it. Live food has no shelf life because it's full of enzymes. See, enzymes are created in food either to give nutrition to your body or to cause it to turn back to dirt on the ground. It's breaking it down. And you see, you go to the store today, that food will sit on the shelf. It came from thousands of miles away to begin with, and it sits on the shelf for who knows how long. It doesn't change. Well, it's dead. It's totally dead. And it can't die anymore while it's on the shelf. It's dead. You gotta wake up. You don't buy dead food. You don't eat dead food because it won't produce life. I mean, it's so simple. Everything's returned to the earth. Every fall, the Creator puts a covering of needles and leaves back on the ground. Because it sees the plants took out of the ground minerals to create needles and leaves, every year is returned. You see this such perfect balance in nature. And we come in, rip all the cover off the ground, mine it with plants, put chemicals back, and think it's okay. I'm telling you, man, it's when you think about what we do, it's sheer insanity.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. And we keep doing it. If you fly across the U.S. right now in the wintertime in a plane and it's clear, the ground below looks like a cracked, broken desert. I'm telling you, it's pathetic. And 200 years ago when we came, it was covered with 8 to 12 inches of gorgeous, deep, amazing topsoil. Yeah. And you would have thought the Dust Bowl would have woke us up. You'd have thought something that dramatic would have got our attention. But they're still tilling. I'm telling you, know how long it takes in nature to build a 1 inch of topsoil? How long? 100 years to build a 1 inch of topsoil. And I feel so blessed here, man. I got major interest because I'm bringing this stuff in volume. I'm speeding this process up, man. It's so awesome. But when you think about the damage we've done to this earth by cultivating, that'll never be recovered, ever. When I first came here, we bought this property in 1976. It was 5 acres. You can't see it now, but it had a beautiful mountain view. It's a really nice place. We got it really cheap. $12,500 for 5.3 acres. You know why? Because water was supposed to be a real challenge to get here. And so I took that in, and I'm freaking out because I let fear arise. And fear is a spirit. It's not an emotion, it's a spirit. And it's very negative. And so what I did, out of fear, I hired a Seventh-day Adventist to douse for me. They call witching, but I knew it wasn't demonic because he's a believer. But I was motivated out of fear. So he goes around and he douses, and we finds this place in the back. Here's water here. So we went and drilled a well 213 feet and got half a gallon a minute. No water. Yeah. But that was the result of operating in fear. So the word says, whatever is not of faith is sin. That was sin. So about 12 years later, the economy had really fallen. No one's building houses anymore. The well drill had gone from $28 a foot down to $14. And I says, Carol, my wife, let's just pray and ask God to show the local drill another well because it's never going to be cheaper. We'd have to be able to put a pump in, but at least we can get a drill and someday put a pump. So let's just pray. Let's repent and we pray. So we did. And my wife says, God just told me we're going to get a well 130 feet, 20 gallons a minute. I says, Carol, that's insanity. That's 40 times the volume, half the depth. She says, I heard 130 feet, 20 gallons a minute. I know what I heard. So she's off at a birth center down in Texas, and the well driller came. I'm out of here. Because, you know, drilling a well is worse than the casino. If you're stupid enough to go to the casino, you can at least leave when you're losing money. When you're drilling a well, you're watching your dollars go down that hole and you got no guarantees. So I'm out of here. So I come back from work, and my neighbor says, man, looks like I got water, I better call him. You know, so I call a guy up, and this guy's an agnostic. Agnostic is an unbeliever. He's a scientist. Everything is explained by science.
He's leaving it open, though.
Huh?
He leaves it open.
Yeah, he's open, but he's not a believer. He doesn't know yet. And so he says, I had a very interesting day here. He says, usually when we start drilling in the area, we don't start looking for water until we hit 150 feet. He says, the 130 feet, I'm going through all this blue clay. At 130 feet, I started hitting boulders. I'm talking like gravel. We're talking like good-sized rock. He says, something inside of me, this is an agnostic, said, give it a surge. He said, I gave it a surge, my pipe went limp with water coming out. He says, I went back again, and in 5 feet, I'm right back in blue clay. He says, you have something I've never seen before. You have an underground river in a 5-foot rock formation, surrounded on both sides by blue clay. You see that casing coming out of the ground over here? There's 3 feet of casing coming out of the ground. When the well report reads, 133 feet, 20 gallons a minute.
Yeah. About starting from dirt, how much of that chicken compost, because I have that same stuff available to me, how much would you put down as far as inches and then the screened wood chips on top?
All you need is like 3 or 4 inches. It would be a great start.
So
you can see the root. Here's what I'm finding about roots. Roots don't go deep. We think they do, but they don't. If you look at how things grow, and I pull up plants, roots go lateral. Because roots aren't stupid. They're going to go where the life is. Why would they go down into this compacted dead soil when there's all this life at the top? And so if you just put a light layer, the roots will just spread out in that. They're not going to go down. So just I would just take it as far, 2 to 3 inches up front, plant in it, and you're good.
So how much of that would be the chicken compost so that we don't burn it or whatever?
The chicken compost won't burn because if you heard what I said, it's 1 part chicken manure to 10,000 parts organic live waste. You go to my chicken pen where the chickens live. Floor is covered with wood chips. There's absolutely no odor. There's absolutely no odor. There's no heat because that manure is homogenized in all those wood chips. So it's lost in the mass. The only reason you have a problem with chicken manure burning is because it's concentrated. When you cut out the concentration, there's no stench, and there's no heat.
Okay.
And so I can take it directly out of there at any point in time, when, screen it and put it here, and things just do what they're doing because it's perfect soil.
So if I went with 2 inches of chicken manure and then 2 inches of screen,
You're great.
Good.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, it's just, and again, it's just, it's just, I mean, look how nice it is walking in here. See, your feet aren't muddy, no dirt on them, they're all clean, and you're not compacting my soil. For those of you who've rototilled, do you understand what I'm saying? This is huge. When you rototill ground, you walk on it, it compacts immediately, and it turns to mud. It's just, I'm telling you, this is so convenient, so nice, so functional, and stuff just grows on it.
You're saying even if the soil you're starting with is compacted, it's going to grow.
If you go along my house with it, you should. You've never, if you think you got bad soil, you go look at mine. Nobody has anything worse than this. We're talking not just compacted clay, but full of rocks. I'm just telling you, man, this would be like on the agricultural. This is like major marginal. This is nothing you want to grow in.
Yeah.
And everything you see here is growing in that compacted, nasty stuff because this stuff is changing it.
I think a lot of times when people see your videos, they're seeing the heavy, the fresh wood chips that are bigger and more coarse, and then you get your fine stuff here. You're doing this for convenience. To
You see this here I can plant seeds in.
Yeah.
That coarse stuff you have to pull back. So what I do, I use a screen, and the coarse stuff I just put back in the orchard. So I take the fine stuff and put in my garden here.
Right.
You see, I just make a little groove and plant right because it's so fine.
Okay.
But the coarse stuff will work. Like that's what I did last time.
It all works.
Yeah,
It's just
I had
that
a good
some things
garden.
are easier,
And you're doing
and
rows.
as you get older, easier, and convenience just start making more sense.
Yeah.
You know what aphids are from? Malnutrition. Dehydration. If you got aphids and you water your plants, the aphids leaves. You see, insects are there to tell you your plant's not well. They shouldn't be killed. They're a wake-up call, and they have a purpose. And so if you have aphids, it's called dehydration. If you water the plants, the aphids leave. Can I tell you why the aphids don't eat my plants? Have you noticed the water content in my plants? You see, a bug wants cellulose and fiber. That's what they want to eat. When they bite into my plants, they drown. Really? There's so much water they drown, so they go after stressed, dehydrated plants to get cellulose and fiber. Really? If you just think about it, it's so obvious. So dehydrated plants is what they're feeding on. Not hydrated plants. Tim's asking about spacing. Let me tell you something really important. Don't you believe what they tell you. I encourage everyone to plant only dwarf trees, not semi-dwarf. They get too big. These are all dwarf trees. You can see they're quite big.
Oh, okay.
The problem is they'll tell you can plant them 10 to 12 feet apart. I'm so glad I asked the creator. He said 15 minimum. If you look at my trees at 15, they're all touching. You see, the people that are telling you about things, they're growing in a very stressed environment. And they've never seen something grow in good health. And that's their reality. In their reality, in compacted hard soil, 10 to 12 feet work because the plant's not going to get big. In this, you have to get out of its way. So dwarf trees, minimum 15 feet. Minimum. Ideally, if I do it over, I would have done 18, but I get the numbers in here too, so I'm really glad. So I have them. But 15 minimum on dwarf trees because they're going to get way bigger than they tell you. You know, can I tell you something about the Creator? He laughs. In Psalm 2 it says he does. And he totally busts up and laughs when man tries to create a dwarf. So I have a little 9-year-old dwarf plum over there. Remember I told you how they create dwarf trees? Is they plant into a rootstock that doesn't develop. So you have a small rootstock. So you have a small root system. The trees stay small. I have a 9-year-old dwarf plum over there that I have root suckers coming out 30-foot radius. Not diameter, radius, 30 feet. Wow. It's huge. And the Creator just laughs. If you plant something in living soil, it is impossible to dwarf it. It just can't happen. I love it. And it's so hilarious, and so see, my challenge here is actually trying to stop and reduce growth. See, my trees are pruned real open. You know why? I'm trying to reduce the amount of food I get. I'm making an effort to get less. And it's not working. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's just, abundance can be a challenge. It can be like, can I get a break, please? This is like, I want to harvest my potatoes. I really do. They're so blooming. They're supposed to be yellow and looking like they're done, but they're not. Could I please have you set this back some and have them get done so I can harvest? I mean, this abundance can be really challenging.
You sound like a frustrated man.
At the other end. Most people are frustrated at the shortage end.
You're frustrated not being able to get to them yet.
Too much.
Can you talk about your daily routine with the chickens?
Daily routine. At night I close them up because we have raccoons that could get them. In the morning I go in there, I open the door, let them out, and they just go outside and feed. Now tomorrow, out there in the front, I have a whole bunch of, you see, I grow things specifically for chickens, and so I harvest from my garden things. Now if it's not raining tomorrow, I'm going to go, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's gone to seed, I'm going to pull up and give to them. And then you see my plants get really big, the outer leaves are bad, so I'll pick those off. And so I'm constantly harvesting from my garden. You know, I pull all my corn, that's in there. I mean, so I'm always, it's abundant out here. So everything that, see, all my waste comes here. See the grass coming from the garden here, the lawn's over here. Every living thing in my yard, everything out of the kitchen is not bad. All the ashes, so everything comes to the chickens, and that's what feeds the soil into amazing soil. You know, wood ash has the highest mineral content of anything on the planet. Wood ash is the most mineral-rich substance that exists. Does anybody remember Joel Wallach? Dead doctors don't lie. Anyway, he was a really intelligent, he was a veterinarian, and the government gave him a $30 million grant. In the 80s. $30 million in the 80s was huge money. We're talking like major. So he had money to travel, $30 million. And they wanted him to study the importance of minerals on human health, minerals. So he's traveling the world and he's finding cultures who live over 100 years, 120, 130. He found they had three things in common. The first is they had no electricity. The second is they grew all their own food. And the third was very interesting. They all heated with wood and cooked with wood and put the ashes back in their garden. And he revealed and discovered the most mineral substance on the planet is wood ash. When he said that to me, God does this spontaneous thought and brought to mind when my family was in Yellowstone National Park. We were there when the fire started. My family was there when that fire started. And they thought it would take decades for Yellowstone to ever grow back. In 2 years, it looked like a fire never happened. And what God showed me was, when fire goes through wood, all that is left are minerals. Because fire, heat, does not destroy minerals. And the ash is nothing but minerals. It's concentrated minerals. And you've ever seen a place where a burn happens? It immediately turns bright green like overnight. It's saying something to you. You just got a major mineral deposit in this space. So I heat my
nitrogen too.
What's that?
A lot of nitrogen.
Well, I heat my house entirely with wood, and all the ashes go back to my chicken pen. They homogenize into everything else that goes in my garden. So again, this principle of recycling. See, everything in my place is recycled. Nothing's wasted. The beauty of chickens is nothing goes to waste. Whatever I don't eat, they will. They can make great eggs back. I'm so having fun doing all the things they say you can't. It's just fun. And what I'm getting is that when things are well and healthy, there aren't issues. There's no challenge. When you're healthy and strong, you can do anything. You're good.